Let's start with a really big question. What if the single most important tool we use every single day, money, is fundamentally broken? According to the book we're diving into today, it absolutely is. The entire global financial system, this invisible web that connects all of us, isn't just flawed, it's actively hurting people, from the wealthiest nations to the most vulnerable. So, let's get into it. That quote, it comes from Lynn Alden, an engineer and financial analyst whose work is the basis for this entire explainer. And she's seen this firsthand. Having lived in both the US and Egypt, she's watched how a broken system can slowly chip away at your wealth in one country and completely vaporize it in another. Now, saying the entire global financial system is broken, that's a huge claim, right? So to really get our heads around this, we need to peel back the layers. We have to go back and figure out how we even got here. And that means starting with a very, very basic question. To understand what's broken today, we have to understand what money was supposed to do in the first place. And for that, we need to go way, way back. I'm talking before banks, before paper money, before any of it, to the original problem that money was created to solve. Okay, imagine a world with no money at all, just pure trade, barter. It sounds simple, but it's a nightmare. You have to solve what's called the double coincidence of wants. It means you, the chicken farmer who needs a pair of shoes, have to find a shoemaker who just so happens to want chickens right now. What if he wants fish? Well, now you gotta go find a fisherman who wants chickens. You see the problem. It's just wildly inefficient. And this problem, it doesn't just add up. It explodes exponentially. In an economy with just 100 different goods, you'd need to keep track of almost 5,000, that's 4,950 different exchange rates. Is a spear worth 4 blankets or 10 baskets of berries? It becomes completely unmanageable. So to fix this mess, humanity basically came up with 2 brilliant solutions, 2 different kinds of ledgers to track value. The first was commodity money, using something that was valuable on its own. Think rare seashells, or better yet, gold. Stuff that was scarce, durable, and everyone kind of agreed was worth something. The other solution was credit money. This is basically just a network of IOUs, a ledger built completely on trust and promises. Okay, so we started with these really simple, tangible ways of tracking value. How in the world did we get from shiny rocks and personal promises to the complex, fragile, and often confusing system we have today? Well, the journey really boils down to 2 key trends that fed off each other: centralization and abstraction. The first big step was a clever banking trick called fractional reserve. See, bankers storing people's gold realized, hey, everyone never comes back for all their gold at the exact same time. So they started issuing more paper claims, more receipts for gold than the actual gold they had in the vault. And just like that, new money was created from debt. It's a system that works perfectly until it doesn't. Now, on a global scale, this whole story played out in 3 major phases. We started with the classical gold standard, where your money was a direct claim on a chunk of gold. Simple enough. Then came Bretton Woods, where your money became a claim on a US dollar, which was then a claim on gold. You see that extra layer of abstraction? And then, since 1971, we've been in the pure fiat system, where money is a claim on, well, nothing tangible, only the promise of the government that issued it. With every step, the link between the paper promise and the actual physical asset got weaker, and technology just threw gasoline on the fire. With the telegraph, a promise to pay could cross the Atlantic at the speed of light, but the gold to actually settle that promise, that was still chugging along at the speed of a steamship. That huge gap between the speed of information and the speed of settlement had to be filled with something, and it was filled with layers of credit and trust in big central institutions. And that brings us right to the present day. This long history of layering promises on top of promises and concentrating power has led us to the system we all live under now, one where a very small number of governments and central banks have a complete monopoly on creating and managing money. So today, we have over 160 different national currencies out there. But don't let that fool you. They are not all created equal. The system is a pyramid, with the US dollar sitting right at the very top. Because things like oil and most international debt are priced in dollars, pretty much every other country on Earth is forced to hold dollars and play by its rules. This gives the United States an unbelievable amount of power. So what happens when these central powers decide to create new money? It doesn't get spread around evenly. This is called the Cantillon effect. The new cash flows to those closest to the money printer first. The government, the big banks, the huge corporations. They get to spend that new money while prices are still low. By the time it trickles down to the rest of us, prices everywhere have already started to go up.
It's a hidden, systematic transfer of wealth from savers and wage earners to those who are already financially connected.
And this is not just some academic theory. For billions of people around the globe, it is a harsh and devastating reality. If you live in a country like Argentina, or Nigeria, or Turkey, you experience this firsthand. High inflation is a constant, relentless force that just eats away at the value of your savings and your paycheck year after year after year. So in the face of this system, which for many is clearly broken, our source introduces a radically different approach. An idea that didn't come from a government or a bank, but from decades of work by cryptographers who were trying to build a new kind of money from the ground up. Then, in 2008, right in the heart of the global financial crisis, this anonymous person or group called Satoshi Nakamoto published a paper. It described a system for peer-to-peer electronic cash, and for the first time in history, it showed how you could have a global public ledger without needing any central authority, no company, no bank, no government to manage it. And when you compare this new idea to the existing system, the difference is just night and day. The fiat system is centralized, has an unlimited supply, and you need permission from a bank to use it. Its foundation is trust in human institutions. Bitcoin is the polar opposite. It's decentralized, has a provably fixed supply of 21 million, and it's open for anyone to use. Its foundation isn't trust, it's math. So what's the real innovation here? Well, Bitcoin finally closes that historical gap between the transaction and the settlement. The value itself moves just as fast as the information about it. It's a digital bearer asset, meaning you can actually own it yourself without needing an intermediary. And most importantly, it's the first digital object in history that is absolutely scarce. The emergence of this new technology means that for the first time in modern history, we are at a genuine fork in the road. The future of our financial world could go down one of two profoundly different paths. Path number one is more of the same, just supercharged with new tech. We're talking about central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. This path doubles down on centralization, creating a top-down system that could give authorities unprecedented surveillance and control over every transaction we make. The other path, of course, is the opposite. It embraces open, decentralized protocols like Bitcoin. This is a bottom-up system. The rules are transparent, the network is run by its users, and the whole point is to give individuals, not institutions, more freedom and sovereignty over their own financial lives. And ultimately, it all comes back to that one core question we started with. Money, at its heart, is just a ledger for keeping track of value. So who should be in charge of that ledger? Who gets to write the rules? Should our global ledger be managed by a few powerful institutions behind closed doors? Or should it be managed by open, transparent code that anyone can verify? The choice between those two paths, between more centralization and a decentralized alternative, may be the single most important financial decision of our lifetimes. And the answer is going to define our freedom and our future for generations to come.